How's it going, everybody? Good to be back. We got 29 people in the house. Hello to everybody. Long time no see, Naveen Kazar. How you doing? And everybody else. We got Valentin, our young brother from Macedonia, who's been on a couple times, and we're going to see what's happening with him. He's wide awake. Let me just pull him up here on the screen. I want to say thank you to everybody for your continued love and support and contributions. It allows us to keep doing what we're doing every day as we work our asses off to expand this platform called Soulogy Network. And I just want to say, thank you. And also, if these shows resonate, please share so we can stay above these algorithms at Facebook. How's it going, Valentin?
It's going well. So far, so good.
So far, so good. You got a new hairdo. I hadn't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I'm growing hair right now.
Yeah, that's right. Your hair was shorter, wasn't it? You're you're maturing. You're maturing. I can see your energy. What's been going on in Macedonia? How's it going? How's it going on the front line of the apocalypse?
Front line of the what? Apocalypse. Yeah.
The great unveiling.
Apocalypse. It's too cold here, I think, for a season like this.
Well, I'll think about you while I'm laying on the beach in between shows in the sunlight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we haven't talked in a while. A lot's been going on since we talked last year. Have you been going through a lot of have you been going through a lot of personal transformations, or what have you been experiencing?
Oh yeah. I'm really trying to change exchange energy, try to be more involved, cooperating, and to be in service of others and myself.
And have you been having any dimensional experiences? I know the last time we talked, you were having some things go on. I mean, that might be considered dimensional or etheric experiences in the non-physical. You getting any visitations or having any experiences with the plant kingdom or the nature beings or the elementals?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to integrate, like the soul is trying to integrate this multidimensionality of itself, and I'm visiting also nature. I'm meeting a lot of people who are interested in going into the nature. We're doing a lot of breath exercises like pranayama that helps with anxiety, depression, and all this stuff. I'm meeting a lot of young people, my generations, maybe older, who are working on themselves, on seeing changes here in the other. Um, it's good. It's I think we're having the most quality time on earth. I think I'm feeling this way because under these pressures of pressures and fightings and Star Wars and all this stuff. I think we are making it into living into believing it into transformation and all this stuff.
Yeah. And you talked about, we're kind of getting used to or aligning with our multidimensionality, the soul, as you put it,
Yeah.
coming into the human body. Is that what you're experiencing?
Yeah, I have astral projections and or ashram. I know a girl who was teaching me about these higher states of being. I have one experience of astral projection one night when I was in my bed and I was trying to astral project myself, and as I lay down and I saw myself outside my body, and like I was in my yard, and the dogs started to bark on me it was so much expanding, like my energy expanded so much, and even the dogs can see that shade that yeah, it was like a shadow, like a shadow of myself. Then I scared myself. I scared myself, and I took back, and then I started to work on shadow work.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about that. Now, when you had this experience, did you see your body, your physical body, or did you just see yourself in your backyard?
No, my physical, I totally forgot my physical body.
Yeah.
Um, if you get sensation of when you meditate and your mind is when your mind is still and quiet, still and quiet maybe, and you yeah, it was something like that.
And you talk about, you know, getting a little bit frightened and then going back in your body, and then you started to do shadow work as a result. What kind of experience is that? What kind of shadow work are you doing? Or how are you approaching it? You know, using a certain process?
Oh, that's uh, that's been like I think the last 5 months, and the process I was doing was just staying at my home, maybe not going outside, just um, being in a dark environment. So I was all about that DMT, and the more I know myself, the more I uh, acknowledge all my aspects of being of being of being my oneself of and the more I acknowledge, the more I know thyself, the more I feel comfortable in that uncomfortable place,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was something like that. Like a kid, I was afraid of dark, and I've been pretty uncomfortable around around dark energies, then I realized that I am the dark side, and it's the more I don't know, the even the more it absorbs me into that stillness of being, of that unknowing.
Has it been a challenge, or has it been difficult to embody or claim or realize in yourself any shadows, all shadows, things that you might have thought were separate from you?
Uh, I guess no. All these things came to me naturally. I never rushed any process. I always take my I always take my time, like step by step, not rushing anywhere. So as I'm awakening, I'm trying to be more in service of others. So we can exchange our energy, not push, not rush, just staying in the flow. And this is how I reach into these high vibrational states of freedom, of solitude, of empathy, and all this stuff came naturally to me. That's all I wanted to say. I don't wanna judge the feeling, or um, criticize, or all these duality things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. And you said that you've been hanging out with some people, and some of those were young people. And you mentioned that you guys talked about working on yourselves. Are there young people that are looking at, taking the responsibility for their shadows? You hear a lot of that with the older generation,
Yeah.
because, obviously we went through more conditioning. We've been on the linear timeline longer, but are
Okay.
young people actually taking responsibility and doing their inner work like yourself? You know other people like that?
Most of them, I think, they're starting. Like the journey is just. I was thinking that my journey just started and I'm alone. But as I dive deep into this, I'm realizing more and more that I'm not alone. Like all this veganism, all this. I see more people turning to veganism, but I don't want to promote veganism. There are people who are interested, who I was in tantra meditation close to my town. In my town there was tantra meditation presentation, and in that evening I've met a dude who is like 2 decades into pranayama, breathing consciously, and we had this talk of pranayama, and he explained me to he explained me that he's working on himself for 2 decades.
Mm.
Yeah, he's 25 or 26. He's working since a kid, and he's very patient and working on himself. He's very genuine person, and we tried some sessions of breath work, and it feels really, really, really good. You know,
Yeah.
that's all I've been around. Yeah.
Now you mentioned earlier, I heard you say DMT. Now, are you talking about, releasing DMT into the body through breath work, or through taking or smoking or ingesting DMT?
I'm talking about this natural process of just staying into dark place. I've never reached that station that state of releasing DMT. I'm trying more into YouTube meditations that releases DMT, and it helps. Like you get a glimpse of what DMT tastes like, what feels like. But this friend of mine told me that the most psychedelic thing that can be, it's the breath itself. The breath itself contains all these antioxidants and all these chemicals that are important to our body, and we don't need to take no DMT or any of that stuff. This is how I got explained. It's just this is how my friend explained it to me. I never had chances to experience different ways, like smoking or taking into my body.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just curious, and I agree with you. I've seen some people talk about it and attest to through breathing, releasing
Yeah,
DMT, and yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen I've seen people talking experiences on YouTube, like Joe Rogan or Mike Tyson,
mm,
or Morgue. He's on Facebook. If you are this Hyperion thing, and yeah, I've listened to experiences about others taking DMT. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, it can be achieved evidently through breath. And is there a
So,
particular breathing exercise or method that you know of that is intended to release DMT naturally through the body?
um, the most accurate thing that I saw on the internet was that if you stay in dark room for like uh, 3 or 4 days, or something, someone says 6 months, some 6 weeks, or 3 weeks. I don't know how much time, but definitely if you stay in dark room, you can get a glimpse of, if you breathe, let's say, righteous, if you just breathe conscious,
Hmm.
and you get a glimpse of this. The glimpse is like this. You feel a sensation like the first thing that I achieved was this, like, shamanic drums in my pineal gland, like my spirit is it's connected to this high tribe, and physical body, like it's dissolving into million pieces, and all these pieces are intelligence itself, like, and they're trying to communicate each other, transfer energy, and that this is how I perceive DMT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of comments here about Wim Hof, WIMHOF, and
Yeah.
somebody brought him up the other day. For those of you who are watching live or on the replay, you might want to check that out. Um, yesterday was a 22/2/22 or 2/2/2/22 day.
Yeah.
And a lot of,
And now it's
there,
2020. Now it's 2020 right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, a lot of people were talking about it in different ways, things they were experiencing in their body, things they were experiencing through their third eye.
Yeah.
It seems to be a very important day. Did you have anything significant, important happen yesterday?
Yesterday. Yesterday I couldn't sleep since you invited me to the show. I got so much excited and I couldn't sleep last night, to be honest. And this morning I was watching something like Muji the satsang, and I felt peaceful, and I slept on my bed, and I woke today around 4 p.m. I think 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. And I saw the first thing I saw. I was into this very angelic realm. It was hard to. It was really. I was feeling like floating. I woke up and I saw literally Jesus on my window. Like the the sunset was on the west, and it was really majestic moment too. It's hard to explain. It's very hard to explain. It happens like five hours before, and I felt that right way, like I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
And this high pitched frequency in my
Yeah.
right here, and I try to meditate, integrate these energies, and uh, being into this safe area of taking no shit and harming no one.
Yeah. Taking no shit and harming no one. I like that. Yeah. And so, yeah, and it's interesting. And, as you were saying that, I started to get a loud tone in both ears, which always tells me that truth's being spoken, or there's something, something to that. But, a lot of this stuff that comes in, I think that's a good point that you make. We don't necessarily, and it seems like as time goes on, we don't necessarily understand what's happening. Like you said, it's hard to explain. We know something's happening. It's all good, and almost like we don't need to know. Just be in surrender and gratitude and allow it to come in. You know, I know I had some of those feelings yesterday, and also had feelings of the third eye several times, like
Wow.
something was beaming onto the third eye, and I just took it as receiving downloads, or expanding, with clarity, the third eye. Now you mentioned again, going back to people your age, and I think you're about what, 19,
Yeah.
19, 19 years old.
No, I'm 23 this month. I'm
20.
making 23 years this month.
Okay. Well, happy
Yeah.
birthday, happy early birthday. Now,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
now, these young people that you have interacted with, that are open
Yeah.
and aware and awake, do they acknowledge, do they consider that something such as an ascension is happening, a collective awakening or expansion? Do they feel that?
Well, I guess not. I guess not. It's more like spiritual movements to be the cool kids. I this is how I see myself into younger generations. We all been into that movement, calling spiritual, being spiritual, but I think they're on the right path, because this is how really got serious. The spiritual awakening really got that serious. It always, I think it always starts with laugh, and it's continuing into more and more weird situations, and awkward, and awakening, and tensions, and all this stuff. But
Yeah.
this is why we are here to compassionate one another about self, to bring knowledge, true knowledge about self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk in America, and I'm sure other parts of the world, in regard to disclosure, in regard to things coming out that have been hidden in the institutions of government and organized religion and other things. are the people in Macedonia, or even the media? Is there any evidence, or does it look like that that's happening over there? Are people wanting disclosure? Are they expecting disclosure? Or is there any disclosure being made in Macedonia?
Um, Disclosure. I'm not familiar with this word.
Well, it would
Let
be
me
like,
just.
well, I'll help you. Now,
Okay.
because I know there's language. Now, what we're talking about is, a lot of people have been making comments or becoming more aware, or expecting for the hidden truths behind, let's say, the Vatican, the secret government, um, the Illuminati, the cabal, other things like that, where things are going to be publicized. People are going to be arrested. I mean, and I'm not sure that that's just not a program. I'm just asking, are the people in Macedonia, are you seeing that? Are you seeing any type of coverage on that? Are they talking about it?
For me, the only truth that I live, it's that people are awakening into this warrior spirit that can resist what it's not true.
Yeah.
I think that is real because they feel energy. They feel energy. They're curious about it. They're curious about these programs, as you said, and
Yeah.
and I think that all these traditional belief systems, all these propagandas are dissolving into this fear-based mentality.
Yeah.
And I'm encouraging a lot of people. I think this is my mission, to encourage people to meet their true selves, to meet
Yeah.
their inner guidance, to meet their higher thoughts, to meet their angelic beings. To I'm encouraging to not to sleep on their own. Not to fall into delusions and illusions, to brainwash themselves, but sometimes to live in the now, to be present, to
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. There is a 17 years old girl who was interested into spirituality, and she wrote to me like, I'm interested into spirituality, can you recommend me some book or something? I think it's I think that really the spiritualism is, it's taking one step further, and it's like a new religion. It's always been like that. The more just awakening into their own true nature.
Hmm.
All this homophobic, I'm seeing a lot of homophobic energies, schizo's, or any of these dramas and all this stuff are just emerging into the one. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, you talked about, on a collective level, or on the world stage, these belief systems are crumbling. In your own life and in those you observe, that you talked about earlier, people that you're hanging out with, are you having, and or they having, their own belief systems about themselves break down, like your own identifications of who you are, as a human? Are you having any of that stuff break down?
So a lot of belief systems, like it's okay to be indifferent. I'm seeing a lot of indifferentials, and like I think in global my generations, we're all indifferent. I think it's been always like it's meant to be um, not to, you know, it just is. I can really explain about belief systems about others. It just is. It just is. It's
but I mean,
perfect.
like, yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, like, in terms of like our own personal journeys, people talk about
Mm.
having to let go of labels like father and brother and son, and what a friend was, and what a relationship was, and what our roles have been, jobs, identification with country, identification with sexual preference, or even uh,
Oh yeah, I see.
things like that. I mean, are you having to let go of things that you thought were Valentine in order to create space for
Yeah.
yeah.
This is how my real spiritual awakening started, and right now you got me thinking about it, how my spiritual awakening started, who I am, with who I am I being true to myself, to my family, or to my soul family, that's good question to be just to be observed, to be just to think about it. It's good reminder. It's good reminder
Yeah.
because yeah, I'm feeling you. There's a lot of separations between even Christianity, because the Catholics and the
Protestants.
Pravoslavna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Protestants.
Pravoslav.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so like what do you I mean, a lot of people have talked about 2020 so far, which has only been what, like 7 weeks, and that it's been very intense, that
Yeah,
there's been a lot of stuff coming up for clearing. There's been a lot of effect on the physical body.
absolutely. Yeah.
Are you having that stuff happen, and how do you handle that? How do you work through it?
Uh, well, I think it's all part of the ascension. It's all part of it's individual. I think it's
Mm.
individual because uh, we're we're not uh, we're not on the same spiritual awakening. Everyone is on different spiritual awakening.
Mm.
Everyone is perceiving things differently, and but as you said, it's hard to explain, really,
Yeah.
to get into the deep questioning, and
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Have you
I think
had
we're good
Go ahead.
so far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah.
But the yeah, as you said, the Vatican and all this pornography and innocent children, I think it's not right. And you can feel if the soul is suffering, and very very sensitive people can tell you that if you're sitting with people who are really passionate about it, really passionate about life, have real self knowledge, and having empathy, can tell you that on what level the soul is suffering, and uh, there are things that aren't happening, aren't feeling good, like all these things with child's pornography and dark side of the internet, dark web, and all this stuff, all this.
Yeah. And so you mentioned earlier, a while ago, you mentioned about part of the expansion is compassion. And do you think it's going to be, when these things that you're talking about are brought out into the open and really disclosed, like child trafficking and the Vatican's
Mhm.
role and deep government and all that? Do you think that it's going to be important for us to be compassionate for those who have violated the sovereignty of others, do you think it's going to be important, more important to have compassion, or more important to bring justice?
Um, knowing myself, I can tell you that we have to be, it's all happening, it's all internal. Like the outside world is a reflection of our inner world, and seeing from that point of view, I was deleting a lot of BSs that aren't helping me grow. But definitely, it doesn't feel right to violate each other's right.
Yeah.
I think it's not humanoid. It's not. I think it's not our mission to violate each other. If something it's meant to be, it'll be.
Yeah.
Like the yeah, I was into teaching about dark energy and dark matter one time. Um, and the room was full of like these knowledge guys who are into physics, into teachers and professors, and um, after these presentations, everyone's got something to say about it, about dark matter, but they couldn't really explain that feeling of oneness, of the feeling that just is. And I was just fascinated by that, and I played a song by Beatles, "Let It Be." You know, this is how we can bring justice. I think we cannot fight for peace. We cannot
Yeah.
go to war. We cannot go to war about being not. We cannot be violent just to
Yeah.
stop being violent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all. I think it's all shades of dark, and we are perceived like that. That's just my opinion. That's my point of view.
No, I agree with you. I don't. I personally think that the priority. Hmm, let's see.
Yeah.
How do I word this? I think that the most important thing, if and when this disclosure happens
Yeah.
on a worldwide scale, is going to be to have compassion and to stand in the light and be a column of light from the higher awareness that we have, as opposed to, like you said, if we act like those that we judge, then we are a part of the problem. And the other thing that you said, I think that's very profound, is that whatever's happening out there is because of what's happening inside of us. And and so
Yeah.
really, I know it sounds strange to the human aspect, but we're responsible for everything that's happened, every one of us. And oneness
True.
is oneness.
True.
There is no separation. It's all for one and one for all.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm just curious.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's all about it's all about understanding. It's good in English language that you have understanding, understanding, and overstanding.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that's and I think American people are more compassionate, have plenty of vocabulary and things to explain the feeling, to explain the what it feels right, and what uh, yeah, I think that's the good thing about English language. And and my point, I was trying to make a point if in our culture you're trying to understand something, it's not just like that. You know, it's more ignorant. The more rules the ignorant. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like you understand. Yeah, I understand, but I don't understand. But I go in my way. You know,
Yeah.
and this is how it is. You know, the nature of the things. I've been through a lot of mistakes that, and I'm grateful for my mistakes that got me into this way, right? The way I am right now.
Yeah. It's a great comment here by Andy Hanna. Thank you. He says, we've all contributed to the dark in some way, even if it's just paying taxes to a government that has done dark acts. And, let me ask you this. Do you think it's going to come down to our actions and words matching what we've received and understand and understand and overstand, like you said, and just simply saying that I am not going to participate anymore. I'm not going to pay taxes. I'm not going to get illegal licenses for
Mm-hmm.
rights that we
Mm-hmm.
should have. In other words, where
Yeah,
we're just going to, in a nonviolent way, just
yeah.
simply not participate. Do you think it's going to come down to something like that? Do you think that will happen?
Well, part of the nature, it's uh, resisting, because you know there is other law that what you resist you persist, and all these things that you gotta find a balance between these two. And I really agree with those people who are fighting for their rights. It's gotta be that way. It's gotta be that way. And I'm supporting all these warriors who are fighting for freedom. You know, to for you know, just to
Well,
be
is it?
free. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Is it?
support.
Is it? Yeah, I'm with you on the war. I think the new warrior is not the same as the old warrior that came out of the system. But I don't know if it's so much fighting for our sovereignty or claiming our sovereignty. And by claiming our sovereignty, there are just certain things that we will not participate in anymore, such as, let's just say, and I'm not saying this is gospel, I'm just saying like paying taxes,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
because taxes are not legal, taxes are not sovereign.
Absolutely,
They create
absolutely.
indebtedness, they create servitude and slavery.
Absolutely.
So does borrowing, lending,
Yeah,
possession, and that type of thing. But
yeah.
yeah, I think I get what you're saying. I'm just curious because it seems to me that a lot of the people your age and in their teens, in the early 20s, they they don't they don't seem to have the same conversations necessarily about ascension and about all that stuff, but it doesn't mean that they need it, because it's what I get from them is they're just not going to participate. They're just not going to conform to something that doesn't make any sense. That's what it feels like to me, or at least some of the ones I've run into. What's your take on that? What do you
Hmm.
think?
Yeah, I overstand some people that you know, there are people who are ignorant, and it is part of the nature. You know, it's okay to ignore. You know, it's okay to not feel okay sometimes. You cannot force someone to fight. That the oneself have to realize have to have to like Jacqueline Phoenix said, you run to the rescue with freedom, and peace shall follow. That was my favorite quote of this actor. You know, you have to really pay attention to these mental pictures, because these are real, are happening inside our heads, because all this slavery, it's in our mind, it's
Yeah.
in our body, like it's within us. If we make a deal within us, if we make peace within us with our gender, skin color, and all this stuff, then we win the wars and all this stuff. It's all within us. It's all within us.
Right on. Right on.
So
I'm just curious. Have you had any galactic connection or visitation or downloads from, star family or star systems like Sirius or Pleiades or anything like that? I'm just curious.
well, the last year or last 2 years, I just realized the lower I was, the more energy was more reptilian, and like animal based and all that stuff. And so I gotta push my limits and take veganism, and push myself into these high vibrations. And the more this low energy just fell off, like a rocket, like a spaceship. They fell off me, people, you have to have a real courage and be brave about the way you imagine to be. This is how I got it. And the more I ascend into these high vibrations, the more the more I met the I think the archons, because our religious perspective of archons are architects, uh, or archangels or angels. I'm connecting that way, so it might be truth, it might not, but definitely have something to do with the arcs. And the creation of the galaxies.
Could be could be Arcturian. Could be Arcturus.
Yeah.
Now what about let me ask you about this.
Yeah.
The light body. People talk about and have written about this for quite some time. People are, have physical evidence and pictures, and that is, our bodies actually changing biologically, however you want to put it, is changing, transforming into the light body.
Yeah.
At the top of the show, you talked about the aspects coming into the body. Have you experienced anything in do you have any thoughts on the light body?
It's all about imagination. This is how I got it. Before I eat veganism, I was eating meat, and all these hard energies, I was thinking they're coming from the meat. So that's why I felt heavy, heavy energies. I couldn't work. I was working as a waiter, and was very agility. I was training agility, moving fast, training my memory. And the more I eat less, becoming vegan, drinking more fluids and liquors, I saw this is how I realized that I am light, that I am this source of energy that is everyone within them. Just wait for them to be awakened, or give it something to activate the light body. Or but definitely when I switch off to much lighter food, my body was so happy about it. My body was producing more happy chemicals.
Yeah.
And happy chemicals, and I was getting these keys to immortalities.
Mm,
The more doors were open to myself. Being my true self, being honest about it,
yeah.
not shame about it, not taking personal. It's very important to know thyself, like you said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that.
So it's
Uh,
all about embracing all aspects of ourself and tuning into what resonates the most.
yeah. To thine own self be true. Yeah. Now I know that I love that song you sent me yesterday. I listened to it about 3 times. That I don't know if that was house music or trance music. Do you make music? I know music is. I can tell music is obviously looking at the wall behind you with the guitar and the albums.
Oh yeah,
Music is a big part of your energy field. Do you make music? Do you use music in your daily life?
a lot, a lot. Music is something like universal language, and it's lifestyle. It's the way we communicate, the way we think, the way we flow, the way we are. I think, yeah. I was since a kid. I was 4 or 5 years, and my dad has a
Mm,
a Casio one. It's pretty old, and a lot of keys aren't working. But I imagine myself. I remember myself playing on a synthesizer, a classical music, and my dad was sleeping into bed, and he fell that into that dream state, and my brain was into some creational brainwave, into some theta waves, or I don't know, maybe gamma. And but I definitely felt the passion of creating music. I feel passion for people who are making music, and music. It's very very powerful tool to explain our feelings, our emotions, our yeah.
yeah,
It can reconnect with your source roots, and I don't know, maybe past life.
yeah, exactly. Now, let me ask you this: have you had? I know you interact with other people. You've been talking about it that are that are carrying the same energy or frequency that you are, that are searching to expand. Have you had
Yeah.
any profound or paranormal or dimensional experiences with other people like you have with yourself?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No. I think
No.
maybe we'll see more and more of that as time goes on. But a lot of people are definitely having them, alone. But as it says in
Yeah.
some of the sacred texts, where two or more gather, big things
Yeah.
happen. Well, I just got to say that, you're one of the oldest young people I've ever met. and,
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for
and
that. A lot of yeah. Go on.
yeah, it's refreshing and it's good to talk to you again. And I look forward to doing it again, in a couple of
Yeah.
months, or, let's not wait so long next time. It's good seeing you. And I really appreciate that you've honored us with your presence and your
Yeah.
authenticity and your rawness and your realness, and shared space with us today. But I'll reach out to you again, and we'll do it again, as we move into 2020 and see what's going on in a few weeks or a couple of months. Sound good?
Sure. Hit me up. Hit me up when you are when you need me, hit me up when you need me. That's how it is. I
Sound
truly understand your hobby or job, and I respect your attitude. I like your attitude. Keep it 100 real, and
Mhm.
find connect the pieces of the puzzle. You're doing good. You're doing good. I'm grateful for it.
Thank you, and I'm grateful for you. And you take care, and all blessings to
Thank
you
you.
and yours. And I'll
Yeah.
see you again soon in 2020. Take care,
See
brother.
ya.
All right,
Take care too. Bye
all
bye.
right. We'll see you.
See you.
Bye bye.